Thank you for tuning in to LeadDeveloper.com, where we simplify complex property development feasibilities, investment analysis, and everything real estate. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, our Google Sheets-based feasibility suite streamlines the toughest aspects of real estate. Lead Developer Feasibility Suite is trusted by thousands in over 17 countries. Our tools cover everything from quick assessments to detailed cash flow projections and more. Sign up today at LeadDeveloper.com for unlimited free access to our expanding library of real estate tools. No credit card needed. Plus, get full support through Edge with step-by-step guidance, exclusive courses, and resources designed for your success. Turn numbers into narratives that win over investors and lenders. Join Lead Developer now.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be really taking a deep dive into the world of real estate development.
Yeah.
With a really cool book called Mastermind, Your First or Next Development by Kanon.
Oh, yeah.
So this deep dive should give you all the foundational knowledge you need about the key principles and strategies behind successful real estate development.
Absolutely.
Whether you're thinking about getting into development yourself or just super curious about what happens behind all those construction fences that we see everywhere.
Yeah.
We're going to give you all the insider info to understand the process and impress anyone you talk to about real estate.
That's right. Kanon really packs this book with practical advice. And, he especially emphasizes what he calls the 3 pillars of property development.
Yeah.
These are just the must-haves, the non-negotiables for success in this field.
Okay, so let's break down those pillars.
Yeah.
Pillar number 1 is due diligence.
Right.
But Kanon stresses it's about way more than just checking boxes.
Oh, for sure.
It's about uncovering hidden risks and opportunities.
Exactly.
That could really make or break a project.
Mm-hmm.
He even says due diligence is like an insurance policy against disaster.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
And he breaks it down into 3 key areas:
Mm-hmm.
market research, site analysis, and then any kind of legal issues.
And he's got a point. Skipping these steps can lead to some seriously expensive mistakes.
Yeah.
Imagine thinking you found the perfect spot for, let's say, luxury condos in a really hot market.
Okay, yeah.
But then when you do your research, you realize that a ton of similar units are about to come onto the market.
Ouch. That's a painful lesson to learn after you've already invested time and money, right?
Right. It could be a really, really expensive mistake.
Yeah, so thorough market research helps you understand the viability of your project before going all in.
Absolutely.
But what about site analysis?
So site analysis, that's all about understanding the physical and legal constraints of the potential site. Kanon tells this great story about this developer who, he found what seemed like a dream location for a high-rise.
Right.
And then only to find out, during the site analysis, that zoning regulations actually capped the building height.
Oh, wow.
So what looked like a gold mine could actually turn into a financial pitfall.
Yeah.
All because of something they could have, figured out beforehand.
Right. So zoning is a real deal breaker. Now, what about legal issues? What kind of hidden things are there?
So this is where having a great real estate lawyer is super important. They can help you uncover things like easements or covenants, environmental regulations that could totally torpedo your project.
Yeah.
Kanon mentions this case where a developer bought a property only to discover there's a protected wetland on it.
Oh, no.
Which severely restricted their development options.
Wow.
So it's super important.
Yeah, it's like finding out your dream beachfront property is actually built on quicksand.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm starting to see why Kanon calls due diligence the first pillar of property development.
Right.
It's about minimizing those nasty surprises and making informed decisions from day one.
Absolutely.
So now on to pillar number 2, financial feasibility.
Yeah, so this one's all about creating a realistic roadmap for your project, right? Typically, this would be through a real estate pro forma. Kanon is baffled by how many people skip this step.
Really?
Especially when it's a hot market.
Right.
He warns that rising markets can create this false sense of security, right?
Okay.
Which can mask a project's poor financial feasibility.
Oh, wow.
And lead to trouble down the line.
So it's like assuming that your lemonade stand will be profitable because it's a scorching hot summer day.
Exactly.
What happens when the weather cools down or someone opens up shop across the street?
Right, or if the price of lemons goes up.
Right.
You got to consider all these things. A thorough feasibility analysis,
Sure.
it considers all these different scenarios, and it helps you make realistic projections about costs and revenues, and ultimately your profit potential.
Right.
It's not about just being optimistic.
Right.
It's about being realistic and data-driven.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
No one wants to end up with a completed project that's hemorrhaging money.
Exactly.
Okay, let's tackle pillar number 3, funding and financing. This is where securing the capital you need to make your project a reality comes in, right?
Absolutely. Kanon emphasizes that developers need crystal clear answers to some pretty crucial questions.
Okay.
Right? So do you have the funds to cover all the costs?
Right.
What's your source of funding? And then here's where it gets really interesting. What's the cost of money?
Yeah.
We're talking interest rates, fees, the whole 9 yards.
It's easy to overlook those finer details when you're excited about a project.
Oh, totally.
But understanding those costs can make a huge difference in your bottom line.
Yeah. He uses this great analogy. He compares the cost of money to fuel for your car, right? You wouldn't set off on a road trip without, knowing your fuel efficiency and the cost per gallon, right?
Right.
It's the same with development.
Yeah.
Understanding the cost of money helps you make informed financial decisions and avoid those unpleasant surprises
Right.
later down the road.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so those 3 pillars, those really set the stage for a successful project. And it sounds like Kanon's approach is all about moving forward with confidence, not fear, because you've done your homework.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes on to highlight what he calls the entry and exit points of a development project.
Okay, I'm all ears. What does he mean by that?
So he considers market research to be the entry point. Right?
Okay.
This is where you determine what to develop and who your target audience is.
Right.
It's about, finding that gap in the market,
Yeah.
understanding the needs and desires of your potential buyers or tenants.
So it's about aligning your project with actual demand, not just building something you think is cool or trendy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Kanon does not hold back when it comes to, the consequences of skipping this step.
Oh,
He
really?
shares these stories of developers who overestimated demand, or they missed key market opportunities, or they even priced themselves out of the market
Wow.
because they didn't do their research.
Yikes. Those are costly mistakes.
Big time.
So market research is like laying a solid foundation for your project, ensuring you're building on solid ground.
For sure.
But what about the exit point? How do you actually realize the value of your development?
So Kanon pinpoints marketing as the exit point.
Okay.
He believes that even the most brilliant projects can totally flop without a solid marketing strategy.
Okay.
It's not just about passively waiting for buyers or tenants to show up, right?
Right.
It's about finding them and showcasing why your project is the perfect solution to their needs.
It reminds me of that saying, build it and they will come. Might work in the movies, but in real estate development, you need a plan to get your product in front of the right people.
You got to be proactive, yeah.
Yeah.
He really drives home the point that marketing isn't just a one-time event. It's an ongoing process. It's about building a brand, creating buzz, and nurturing relationships with your potential buyers and tenants.
Okay, so you've got the 3 pillars. We've got the entry point, the exit point.
Right.
What other kind of gems does kind of reveal?
Well, he dives into what he calls the 3 C's of becoming a property developer,
Okay.
which I think are really interesting.
Okay.
These go beyond just the technical aspects of development,
Okay.
and they really focus on the personal qualities needed for success.
This sounds right up my alley. I'm all about that human element of success.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's hear it.
All right, so the first C is character. And Kanon really emphasizes the importance of mindset here.
Okay.
He asks these tough self-evaluation questions. Do you have the grit to see this through? Will you be able to execute your plan, stick to your budget, navigate all those inevitable challenges?
Right, yeah.
He even probes a little deeper. Do you truly understand the entire development process?
Okay, yeah.
Do you have a system in place to guide your actions?
Wow, those questions really make you stop and think.
Yeah.
It's like he's saying success in development isn't just about having a good idea. It's about having the mental fortitude to overcome obstacles and stay the course.
Absolutely, yeah. And then we move on to competence, the second C.
Okay.
Kanon defines competence as having the skills and resources and the right team to bring your vision to life.
Right.
He observes that some people might get lucky once or twice, but consistent success requires a solid foundation of knowledge and expertise.
Right.
And he actually tells these stories about developers who, they tried to go it alone without learning the ropes.
Right.
And they just ended up making these, really costly mistakes.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yeah. It highlights the importance of being a lifelong learner, always seeking to improve your skills and expand your knowledge base.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay. On to the final C, confidence. And this one feels especially important in the high-stakes world of real estate development.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And Kana's take on confidence is fascinating.
Okay.
He argues that true confidence in this field, it comes from knowledge and having a system,
Okay.
not from, like, bravado or an overinflated ego.
Right, yeah.
He even observes that stakeholders, from investors to lenders, they can sense whether a developer's confidence is genuine or just a facade.
That makes perfect sense. People are more likely to trust and support someone who knows what they're doing and has a clear plan.
Right.
But for someone just starting out, how do you cultivate that kind of confidence?
Well, Connor really stresses the importance of having a system, a proven process to guide you through like this complex maze of development. Right.
Yeah.
It's about minimizing the guesswork and replacing it with a roadmap to success.
Yeah.
He emphasizes that confidence comes from knowing you have a reliable system to fall back on,
Yeah.
even when, unexpected challenges pop up.
I love that. It's about replacing fear and uncertainty with a sense of control and mastery.
Exactly.
And speaking of mastery, Kana dedicates a significant portion of the book to knowing your numbers.
Yes.
He even boldly claims that if he could only retain one skill, it would be the ability to understand the financial intricacies of a development project.
Why do you think he put so much emphasis on that?
Well, he argues that being financially savvy is crucial for assigning a dollar value to each stage of the development process.
Yeah.
This allows you to make smart decisions, secure the right kind of funding, and ultimately determine if a project is worth pursuing at all.
Right, yeah.
He even says that hoping for profit without crunching the numbers is a recipe for financial disaster.
You got to know your numbers.
You got to know your numbers.
Absolutely. Understanding the financials is like the cornerstone of minimizing risk and maximizing your returns.
Right.
It's not just about having like a great idea.
Right.
You got to make sure that idea is financially sound.
Right, yeah.
That's key.
So he tackles this common misconception in real estate that location is the be-all and end-all of success.
Okay.
While acknowledging the importance of location, he argues that several other factors contribute to a project's triumph.
I'm curious to hear what those factors are.
Yeah.
What else does he believe is crucial for success beyond just snagging a prime piece of real estate?
He stresses the importance of a solid execution plan. He calls it a property development system.
Okay.
He even tells a funny anecdote about the dangers of what he calls hope developments,
Okay.
where developers rely on luck and wishful thinking instead of a well-structured plan.
Yeah. Hope is not a strategy.
Hope is not a strategy.
Yeah.
And he also emphasizes the importance of timing, choosing the right strategy at the right time.
Oh, for sure.
He explains how factors like inflation, interest rates, consumer confidence, which all influence market cycles, can really make or break a project.
Timing is everything, right?
Yeah.
Starting a project when the market is booming only to face a downturn, upon completion can be disastrous.
Right.
So understanding these broader economic forces, that's key
Yeah.
for making smart development decisions.
And he brings up another point, the need for a financial buffer.
Okay.
He argues that developers need more than just enough money to cover initial costs.
Yeah.
They need a cushion to absorb those inevitable, unexpected issues or delays, or even market fluctuations that could throw a wrench in their plans.
Like having an emergency fund, right?
Yeah.
For your development project.
Right.
Something to fall back on when those unforeseen challenges inevitably arise.
Precisely. And he shares this fact that many developers have lost projects during market downturns simply because they lacked the financial reserves to weather the storm.
That's a powerful lesson.
Yeah.
The importance of planning for the unexpected.
Right.
And having that financial resilience to navigate those turbulent times.
I'm really starting to see the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
Successful development is about so much more than just having a great vision or securing a prime piece of land.
Absolutely.
It's about thorough planning, meticulous execution, and a deep understanding of the market forces at play.
And he then gets into this concept of the developer as the driver of the project, right?
Okay.
It's about, taking control and making sure the project really aligns with your vision and your budget.
Yeah.
You're the one behind the wheel.
I'm curious to hear more about that. What specific strategies does he recommend for maintaining control over the design and the costs of a project?
Well, he shares some pretty amusing stories about, like, architects who want to use expensive materials just for bragging rights.
Oh, wow.
And then you've got engineers who want to, like, over-engineer structures out of an abundance of caution.
Right.
And this, of course, drives up costs unnecessarily.
Yeah.
But he argues that while, design and materials should cater to your target audience, you should never compromise on the overall quality.
So it's a balancing act,
You're
right?
fine.
Being cost-conscious without sacrificing the quality that buyers and renters expect?
Exactly, yeah.
So how does he suggest developers achieve that balance?
Well, he really emphasizes the importance of active involvement in the design and engineering process.
Okay.
Right. About collaborating with your team, asking those tough questions, and making sure everyone's on the same page,
Right.
aligned with the project's goals and budget.
It's like being the captain of a ship.
Yeah.
Making sure everyone's rowing in the same direction and navigating toward that same destination.
You got it. Yeah, it's about being a leader who understands every facet of the project.
Mm.
And that leadership extends to another crucial aspect, Kana highlights: marketing and sales.
Yeah.
He believes that, like, a well-executed marketing and sales strategy is behind, like, almost every successful development.
We often think of marketing as an afterthought, something that comes later, like once the project is built. But Kana seems to view it as like this essential part of the development process from the very beginning.
That's a great point. He really emphasizes that a powerful marketing campaign, it shouldn't just sit back and wait for customers. It should go after them. He talks about how important it is to have a sales team that can not only, thrive in a hot market, but also secure those pre-sales and navigate slower market conditions.
Right, because you're creating a product.
Mm-hmm.
And you need a solid plan to put that product in front of the right buyers or tenants.
Exactly. Kana actually breaks marketing down into two key elements. First, you need to understand your target audience's mindset. Like, what are their needs, desires, what makes them tick?
Right.
And then you create these compelling offers and marketing materials that speak directly to that.
Okay.
Second, you amplify the features of your project that your target audience values most.
So it's not about just like generic advertising. Right.
It's about, like, crafting a message that resonates with your ideal customer.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting. He connects marketing back to that first pillar we discussed, due diligence.
Oh, okay.
Thorough market research, that informs your marketing strategy by giving you all these insights into your target audience's preferences, demographics, even their aspirations.
So it all comes full circle.
Yeah.
Your market research tells you who to target.
Right.
And your marketing strategy determines how you reach them.
Exactly.
I love that. What else does Kana dive into?
He moves on to talk about the importance of securing what he calls favorable finance, something that can really, dramatically impact a project's profitability.
Okay, this takes me back to his point about understanding the cost of money.
Right.
It's not just about getting any loan. It's about securing a loan with terms that actually benefit you.
You got it. He argues that developers should constantly strive to get the best possible financing terms.
Right. Including interest rates, setup costs, repayment schedules. He views securing that favorable finance as another way to, gain a competitive edge in the development process.
I love how he frames it as this ongoing quest to, like, maximize every aspect of the project. It's not just about getting it built. It's about optimizing every step along the way.
For sure. So then he shifts gears a little bit to discuss this idea of management and control, which is really all about having a system to track progress, manage costs, make sure that the project stays on schedule.
Yeah.
And over the years, he's developed what he calls a development management system.
Okay.
Or DMS for short.
So I found it fascinating that he initially started with this simple project control sheet to document the process.
Right.
And then over time, he's refined it into like this comprehensive system with over 500 steps, covering like everything from the initial idea to the final handover.
Right. It really speaks to that belief he has in the power of having a system, a repeatable process that minimizes errors and maximizes efficiency.
Yeah.
And so he really emphasizes that controlling a project kind of boils down to two main things, the project timeline and financial costs.
Okay.
If we connect this back to, like, the bigger picture, it really highlights how interconnected all these elements that we've talked about really are.
Yeah.
Having a a really solid financial feasibility analysis.
Right.
Helps you create, realistic timelines and cost projections.
Okay. Yeah.
Having that thorough due diligence,
Hmm.
that helps you anticipate potential delays or cost overruns.
Right.
And then that well-defined marketing and sales strategy.
Yeah.
Well, that helps ensure that you can actually sell or lease your units on schedule, right?
Yeah.
Generating the revenue to keep the project moving forward.
Wow.
So,
It really is like this perfectly choreographed dance with each step flowing seamlessly into the next.
yeah. But even with the best planning and execution, there's this one factor that's often out of a developer's control, the overall health of the economy.
Right.
So why do you think he includes this as like a success factor?
Well, he argues that jumping into a project when the economy is struggling is incredibly risky.
Oh, for sure.
He even poses this question, do people feel rich? Or do they feel like they're struggling?
Right.
And his point is that consumer confidence plays this huge role in a development's success.
Mhm.
If people are feeling uncertain about the economy, they're less likely to, make big purchases like a new home or a commercial space.
Right. They might just hold off.
They might just hold off.
Yeah. So even the most, innovative project can fall victim to those larger economic forces.
Right. That's a sobering thought. So what does he suggest developers do to mitigate that risk?
Well, he believes that developers need to stay informed about those larger economic trends and adapt their strategies accordingly. He even suggests that sometimes the best move might be to just hit pause, wait for, a more favorable economic climate before launching a new project.
Yeah, that takes discipline
It does.
and a deep understanding of the market.
For sure. And then finally, he circles back to the importance of project quality.
Okay, that's interesting. He already touched on quality when we were talking about design and materials.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think he dedicates like a separate section to it?
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
So he seems to be emphasizing that while you can certainly tailor your design and materials to your target audience, you should never compromise on the overall quality of the build.
Right.
He argues that buyers and renters have certain expectations,
Mm-hmm.
and a developer's reputation really hinges on delivering a product that meets or exceeds those expectations.
Right.
And he even extends this concept of quality to the service provided, suggesting that developers should strive to create like this positive and seamless experience for their customers.
Yeah, that's a really smart perspective. In the end, it's about building trust.
Yeah.
And a solid brand.
Mm-hmm.
People are more likely to, recommend and return to a developer who delivers on their promises and goes above and beyond.
Exactly. And this brings up an important question. How does Kanon recommend aspiring developers actually get started?
Yeah.
He dedicates, a whole section to creating an investment strategy.
So he actually begins by posing this series of thought-provoking questions.
Right.
Designed to, help people assess their goals, their resources, their level of commitment. Like, do you have the drive and ambition to see this through?
Okay.
Are you in this for the short term or the long haul? How much cash can you realistically invest in your first project?
Yeah.
Do you need to partner with someone, or can you handle this solo? Do you have the expertise to pull off a successful development? And finally, do you plan to hold on to the property or sell it upon completion?
Wow. Those are some serious questions.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's really encouraging people to like dig deep and think about their motivations and resources before diving headfirst into a development project.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he also addresses a common fear among aspiring developers.
Yeah.
The lack of money or experience.
Okay, yeah, I'm all ears. What's his advice for those who feel like they're starting with limited resources?
Well, he reminds us that, everyone starts somewhere. No one has all the answers or skills right out of the gate.
Right.
He encourages aspiring developers to find a system they can trust, a proven process that can guide them through the complexities of development.
Right.
He also suggests, tapping into the expertise of others, whether it's through mentorships, partnerships, or simply just learning from those who have, achieved success.
Yeah. It's really like this reassuring perspective that it's about leveraging your resources and building a network of support.
Right. And he goes into a detailed explanation of how to determine the maximum size of a development project.
Okay.
based on the amount of capital that you have available.
Okay.
And what's interesting here is that he doesn't just focus on, like the total project cost.
Right.
He also factors in the developer's equity contribution, the typical loan-to-cost ratio that lenders are likely to offer.
Okay.
So it's a very practical approach
Yeah.
that helps you kind of assess, what's realistically achievable
Right.
given your financial resources.
And he even breaks down the math
Yeah.
in a way that's easy to understand,
Mm-hmm.
showing how even a relatively small amount of capital can be leveraged to finance a significant project.
Absolutely. It's a powerful lesson in the power of leverage and strategic financial planning.
Yeah. He also discusses the concept of partnering with others, either through joint ventures or by bringing in investors.
Mm-hmm.
He emphasizes that this can be a strategic way to, access additional capital and expertise.
Absolutely.
And enabling developers to take on larger or more complex projects than they could on their own.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that you don't have to go it alone.
Right.
Collaboration can be a really powerful catalyst for success in development.
Right. So he then dives into the different exit strategies
Yeah.
that developers can consider.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about the pros and cons of selling a completed project versus holding on to it for long-term cash flow and appreciation.
So what factors does he suggest developers consider when choosing an exit strategy?
He emphasizes the importance of aligning your exit strategy with your overall investment goals and financial situation. He also points out that certain exit strategies, like refinancing a completed project to free up capital for new investments, can be particularly effective for those who want to build like a portfolio of income-producing properties.
Yeah. It's about having a clear vision,
Yeah.
for what you want to achieve and choosing the path that best aligns with that vision.
Right. And he even walks through the scenario where a developer refinances a completed unit and then uses an offset account to minimize interest payments and free up capital for their next project.
That's a clever strategy.
Yeah,
It's about maximizing financial flexibility and putting your money to work for you.
exactly. It's like this snowball effect
Yeah.
where each successful project generates the capital and momentum to fuel the next one. And throughout the book, he consistently stresses the importance of knowing your numbers, understanding market cycles, and having like a robust system in place to guide your decisions and actions.
Right. Yeah.
It's a holistic approach to development.
That's
One that considers not just the bricks and mortar, but also the financial, marketing, and even the psychological aspects of the business.
absolutely.
It's about being a master strategist, a skilled negotiator, and a leader who can inspire a team to achieve a common goal.
Yeah, it really is like taking a vision and turning it into a real building, something that adds value to the community.
It is remarkable. And through this whole book, Kanon really does a great job of making this process seem way less mysterious.
Right.
Like it's achievable if you have the drive and the will to get it done.
Yeah, and what really stood out to me was this whole idea of having a system, that repeatable process that removes the guesswork from development.
Yeah.
It's like you're replacing luck and hoping for the best with an actual structure,
Right. And that structure is built on knowledge and planning and meticulous execution.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what resonated most with me as well. It's almost like he's trying to give aspiring developers the tools and the confidence they need.
Right. To navigate this really intricate world of real estate.
And I think the way he weaves in his personal anecdotes and his own insights really brings this whole book to life.
Oh, for sure.
It's not just him lecturing you on what to do. He's actually sharing his experiences, both good and bad.
Yeah.
Which makes it so much more relatable.
Right. It's almost like having a seasoned mentor in your corner.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious, what would your biggest concern be if you were to start a small development project tomorrow? And how would you tackle it using some of these principles we've talked about today?
That's a really great question. And I think it's one that everyone should consider, even if you're not planning on starting a development tomorrow, it forces you to really think about these concepts we've discussed.
Right.
And how to apply them in a real world setting.
Exactly, yeah. So for all of our listeners out there, we highly recommend checking out Kanon's book, Mastermind, Your First or Next Development. If you want to explore all these all these principles and strategies we've talked about in even more depth.
Absolutely.
It's a really great resource.
A really valuable book.
If you're looking to get into the exciting world of real estate development.
Totally.
That's it for this deep dive into the world of real estate development. We hope you found this insightful, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.